I'm Claudia Kay, behind the scenes, and this is part 4 of my life story. It's all leading up to a point, I swear it is. So, disclaimers, nothing I ever say is medical advice. This is my own lived experience. Everything that I try to say is as truthful as I can make it while still protecting people, because this is my story, not theirs. And there's always 2 sides to every story. This is just my experience. And so keep that in mind. Nothing that I say is ever meant to hurt anybody. And somebody else's perspective may be completely different from mine of events that happened. And I try not to mention anything that would be hurtful to other people. So I'm not lying when I'm telling you the story. I'm just, if there are things that would hurt someone else that I love, I'm going to leave that part out. Okay, so we're at the part where now I am 22, 23. My boss has just dropped a sign on my head at work, and that knocked me out, and the ambulance was not called. So I go to my chiropractor, who does some gentle manipulation, but the injury is it's happened too quickly for him to be able to do much, and it's soft tissue damage. And so he tells me about workman's comp, which didn't know that existed. I have no insurance. No insurance. I'm a young 20-something. Back then, insurance wasn't required. It wasn't offered. It didn't matter how many hours you worked. I got no insurance. I'm working full time. And insurance is not something that was even offered through my company. So, and I didn't know workman's comp was a thing, which is why I didn't go to the hospital after I came to, because I couldn't afford to go to the hospital. Who was going to pay that? So he tells me about workman's comp, and I file workman's comp. The owner of the company pulled out his lawyers and fought me every step of the way. And I was taken off work. The chiropractor was able to write me off work for, I think, six weeks. And it was terrible. And without being able to work, then I've got no money for food. And thankfully at that point in time, I had an awesome roommate, and best roommate I ever had, my gay roommate. He picked up the bills, and he never said a word, and I was able to pay him back some of it. I mean, we stayed friends for years until we lost touch, but yeah, I couldn't have done it if it hadn't been for him. And so I'm trying to recover, and neck pain's just not going away, and nothing I do is making a difference. But I'm also not putting any nutrition into my body because I got no money to buy food. So you can't heal the body without the nutrients going in to heal the body. And I hurt too much to go out. So I'm kind of just very secluded while I'm trying to heal from this. And I go back to work, but I'm still in pain. My neck just hurts. I can't turn it anymore. But I kind of resume some kind of normalcy. But all of a sudden I've got pains in my ankles, and pains in my knees, and pains in my elbows. And I'm just, for the first time ever, I've got pains in places without having any injury. And I can't figure it out. And so I'm still seeing the chiropractor regularly, and I mention it to him. So now it's 1997. It's a year after my accident. And I'm like, and I was being forced by the lawyers for my workplace to close the workman's comp case. And so I had to close it because they weren't going to pay me for lost wages until I closed it. So I'm blackmailed into closing it. So close the case. And now I'm having pain, just random pain. And I'm like, I'm in my early 20s. Is it possible I've got arthritis? What is happening? So that's what I asked my chiropractor next time I'm in there. I'm like, is it possible to get arthritis when you're this young? And he's like, tell me what you've got going on. So I give him a list of symptoms, and then he starts asking questions, and he's like, sounds like fibromyalgia. Like, it sounds like what? I've never ever heard of this. I have no idea what this is. And so I'm very confused. And he hands me a little just trifold pamphlet. And he's like, well, this is what it sounds like. First thing you need to do is change your diet. You need to eat healthier. Now here I am. I'm barely spending money on food. I'm living off of Taco Bell. I'm 23. I'm like, change my diet. I had not eaten a fruit or a vegetable in who knows how long. So at the same time, around the same time frame, I had my latest gyno appointment, and my doctor said, okay, we're at the point now where if you do not go in and have surgery to get the scar tissue removed, it's quite possible that you will have fertility issues later on down the road. And up until this point, I never thought I wanted children. I was a mess. My brain never shut up. I thought it would be selfish to bring kids into the world. And I had no desire. I did not want kids. And I wasn't in a serious relationship and hadn't been in for, 3 years now. And so he's like, this will cause fertility issues if you do not get this surgery and get all this scar tissue cleared out. I didn't want to have surgery. I never had to have surgery in my life. I didn't want to have, I'm like, surgery? I'm not having old people have surgery. I'm not having surgery. But it scared me. And I'm like, do I want children? Wow, I do want children. So I remember writing in my journal on New Year's Eve, 1996, New Year's Eve. I'm writing in my journal that I want children. I need to make some life changes. And so, I'd already had that big accident that year. Now I'm starting to feel pain all the time. And so I quit drinking. So New Year's Day, 1997, I'm like, that's it. I'm done drinking. I got to clean up my life. And mind you, I'm not drinking to the point where I'm not going to work, or I'm just partying. And, but I was partying hard. I was 23 or 22, 23. I'm young. When I would go out, I was partying hard. But now we're into 1997. It's been more than 6 months since this accident, and it hurts to dance. It hurts to walk the miles that I'm walking every day because I don't have a car. Like now, I've got pain that is affecting my life, and it's pain for no reason. It's pain where I didn't have injuries, and it doesn't make any sense. So, I've been told, and this was April of 97 when the chiropractor said it's fibromyalgia. Here's a pamphlet. And so in May of 97, I meet my future husband, and love at first sight. Love at first sight. Everything that he said was right. The first night we met, we stayed up talking all night and watched the sunrise together. And he just tells me everything I'd ever wanted to hear. He's just my dream man. He says all the right stuff. And I'm head over heels in love. And that was May of 97. And by August of 97, I'm pregnant with our first. So, he takes a job with a coworker of mine. Her dad owned a construction company, and they were building storage units down in Florida. So in the middle of my pregnancy, he goes to Florida. Now, when I got pregnant, all of those little pains I'd been having disappeared. So I just blew off what my chiropractor had said about fibromyalgia. I'm like, whatever, I'm fine. And then at my first ultrasound, something doesn't look right. And they send me to a bigger city, to Akron Children's Hospital, about an hour away from here, to have an ultrasound. And so all this time, my whole pregnancy, my a boyfriend at the time is all the way down in Florida building storage units down in Florida. And even though we talk on the phone now and then, back then, it wasn't like cell phones were a thing, regular people did not own cell phones, and we don't have the money to talk very often because long distance. So I get a hold of them and I'm like, they think something's wrong with the baby. You need to come home. And I had flown down once during all of this to visit him in Florida, and he'd shown me the engagement ring that he had on layaway at K Jewelers or something, and just the little teeny tiny 1/4 carat diamond solitaire, heart-shaped, but I was in love with it. And so I knew he was serious about me, right? So he comes home, like, I think it was the week before Christmas, and he had to ride the bus home. And I think either my dad or his boss paid for that bus ticket for him to come home. I don't remember which. And so he comes home, and by this point in time, I've had to quit my job because my current manager wouldn't stop smoking in front of me, and I'm freaked out because I'm pregnant. And they knew I was pregnant, wouldn't stop smoking in front of me, and I quit, which was not like me to quit without notice and was not like me to quit without having another job lined up, but I had quit. I did not. I was so, like, any danger to my baby, like, I was paranoid about. I stopped dyeing my hair for the first time since I was 15, and I wasn't going to do anything to harm this baby, right? So, he comes home. I don't have a job. Now, he doesn't have a job because if he came home, then he wasn't going to be able to go back down there, almost wrapping up. I don't remember. But now we're both out of jobs. I'm pregnant, and something might be wrong with the baby. So talk about your stress. And we go to the ultrasound, and whatever they saw in the first ultrasound wasn't there anymore. They're like, baby's perfectly fine. You're having a boy. Nothing wrong. And so since he's come home, then we decide to go ahead and get married on Christmas Eve because everyone will be home from college and the whole family will be there. And so we get married, and then in April, my first son makes his appearance almost 3 weeks late. And I think that's the point where we're going to stop at for this one. And thanks for watching my long rambling history of my health. Okay, bye.